palpable sense of unease hangs in the air. The world feels less safe today than it did yesterday or even last week. A shadow of uncertainty has fallen across our lives. For decades, nuclear war seemed like a relic of the past, a chilling chapter in history books, something relegated to grainy footage and distant memories. We told ourselves it could never happen again. But headlines now tell a different story, a story of escalating tensions and renewed threats. The news cycle is dominated by stories that were once unthinkable. Global tensions are rising, simmering beneath the surface and occasionally erupting into open conflict. The delicate balance of power seems to be faltering, and nuclear rhetoric is back in the public conversation, no longer confined to the fringes of political discourse, but a central theme in international relations. Leaders issue stark warnings, reminding us that the threat is real, that the unthinkable is once again a possibility. The language is direct, and the implications are terrifying. This anxiety is seeping into American consciousness, a growing unease that is impossible to ignore. It's a feeling shared across generations and communities, shifting the conversation from academic to urgent, from abstract theory to concrete preparation. People are no longer just talking about it, they're actively planning. People are asking, what would we do? How would we protect our families? What steps can we take to ensure our survival? Where would we go? What are the safest places to be? How would we reach them? These are the questions that keep people up at night. The comfort of post-Cold War peace has been replaced by uncertainty, a gnawing feeling that the world is on the brink of something terrible. The sense of security we once took for granted is gone. Fallout shelters, once symbols of Cold War dread, are being re-examined, dusted off, and considered anew. They are no longer just relics of the past, but potential sanctuaries for the future. Online searches for fallout shelter and nuclear survival kit have spiked, reflecting a growing desire to be prepared for the worst. People are taking proactive steps to protect themselves and their loved ones. Americans, urban explorers, and survival experts are digging through archives and exploring forgotten spaces, seeking knowledge and understanding from the past to inform the present. To understand what it would take to survive, to learn from the successes and failures of those who came before. The story of these shelters is the story of America's deepest fears, a reflection of our anxieties about the future and the potential for unimaginable destruction, and its hope for survival, a testament to our resilience and our unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit. As we revisit these relics, we confront both our anxieties and our determination to endure, to overcome adversity, and to build a better future, even in the face of unimaginable challenges. The question is no longer, could it happen? It's a question that has been replaced by a more urgent and pressing concern. But are we ready if it does? Are we prepared to face the unthinkable? Are we doing everything we can to protect ourselves and our communities? What exactly, in its most fundamental form, is a fallout shelter? What purpose does it serve in a world threatened by nuclear events? At its core, it's a space specifically designed to protect people, offering refuge and security from the dangers of radioactive fallout. It's a shield against the unseen enemy. It's important to note that it's not designed to withstand the initial blast of a nuclear explosion, but rather to provide protection from the deadly radioactive dust and ash that follows in the aftermath. This fallout can drift for miles, carried by the wind, and remains dangerous, emitting harmful radiation for days or even weeks after the initial event. The key to a successful fallout shelter is shielding, achieved through the use of thick, dense materials like concrete, which act as a barrier against radiation, or even the earth itself when used to create an earth-bermed shelter. These materials work to effectively absorb radiation, reducing exposure to those inside. However, a true fallout shelter is more than just a basement or any underground space. It's a carefully engineered structure designed specifically for survival in a post-nuclear environment, equipped with filtered ventilation systems, crucial for keeping radioactive particles from entering and contaminating the air supply. The ultimate goal is to create a closed loop of safety and self-sufficiency, where the air inside remains clean and breathable, and the dangers of the outside world are effectively kept at bay through robust sealing and filtration. Furthermore, shelters must be equipped to sustain life for a minimum of at least 2 weeks, providing a safe haven, which is generally considered to be the minimum time it takes for radiation levels to decay to safer and more manageable levels. This necessitates storing an adequate supply of non-perishable food items, a sufficient quantity of safe and potable water, and a comprehensive stock of essential medical supplies. Proper sanitation is also absolutely critical. Without adequate sanitation measures, even the most well-constructed shelter can quickly become uninhabitable and ultimately fail to protect its occupants. In essence, a fallout shelter serves as a lifeboat, providing a crucial means for surviving the invisible and insidious aftermath of a nuclear event. Its design represents a careful blend of scientific principles, sound engineering practices, and, above all, the enduring hope for survival in the face of unimaginable adversity. To truly understand the story of America's fallout shelters, we need to delve into the historical context that birthed them. That means we have to look back to the Cold War, a period of intense geopolitical tension and ideological conflict. As the US and Soviet Union engaged in a relentless arms race, stockpiling ever more devastating nuclear weapons, the threat of nuclear annihilation loomed large over the world. In this climate of fear and uncertainty, civil defense became not just a government program, but a national priority, deeply ingrained in the public consciousness. In response to the escalating threat, the government launched the National Fallout Shelter Survey in 1961, a massive undertaking aimed at identifying existing structures that could provide protection from nuclear fallout. The survey teams meticulously assessed buildings, identifying and stocking potential public shelters across the country with essential supplies. Schools, libraries, vital community hubs, hospitals and office buildings, the workplaces of countless Americans, were all carefully surveyed and evaluated for their protective qualities against radiation and blast effects. If a building met the stringent criteria established by civil defense authorities, it was prominently marked with the now iconic black and yellow fallout shelter sign, a symbol instantly recognizable to every American. These designated shelters were then stocked with basic supplies, including food, water, medical kits, and sanitation provisions. These signs became a symbol of reassurance, a promise of safety in a time of unimaginable danger, but also a stark reminder of the ever-present threat and the deep-seated anxiety that permeated American society. By the late 1960s, the National Fallout Shelter Survey had identified enough shelter space to theoretically accommodate nearly the entire population of the United States, at least on paper, according to official government reports and statistics. But as the doctrine of mutually assured destruction, or MAD, took hold, the perceived need for civil defense diminished and public interest gradually faded. The emergency supplies stored in these shelters expired and were often not replaced. The signs that once marked their locations rusted and faded, and the vast network of shelters, once a symbol of national preparedness, slowly slipped into obscurity and neglect. Today, these relics of the Cold War era stand as a forgotten layer of American history, largely unknown to younger generations. They remain hidden in plain sight, often overlooked and unnoticed amidst the hustle and bustle of modern life. The legacy of these shelters serves as a powerful testament to both our deepest fears and our unwavering resolve in the face of existential threats. Their story is a poignant reminder of how quickly even the most comprehensive preparedness measures can fade from public memory and national consciousness. What separates a real fallout shelter from just a basement? Experts point to the protection factor, or PF, a measure of how much radiation is blocked. A brick house might have a PF of 2, a true shelter aims for 40 or higher. Underground locations, reinforced concrete and thick earth provide the best shielding. Entrances are designed with right-angled turns to block radiation from streaming in. Life support systems are crucial: filtered ventilation, positive air pressure, and independent power. Supplies are non-negotiable: at least 2 weeks of food and water, first aid, sanitation, lighting, and a radio. 1 gallon of water per person per day is the standard. Food should be non-perishable and calorie-dense. Without these essentials, a shelter is just a tomb. Every detail, from layout to supplies, is engineered for survival. The difference between life and death is in the planning. True shelters are a blend of engineering, logistics, and foresight. In major cities, you've likely walked past a former fallout shelter without knowing it. During the Cold War, sturdy buildings with deep basements, schools, post offices, city halls, were designated as public shelters. The yellow and black fallout shelter sign became a familiar sight. Many signs remain, silent reminders of a crisis that never came. Subway systems, with their deep tunnels, were also considered mass shelters, offering excellent shielding by sheer depth. Some tunnels were even stocked with supplies for emergencies. Today, urban explorers and historians track these locations using old maps and declassified documents. These relics offer a glimpse into a time when civil defense was a national obsession. But knowing where a shelter was in 1965 is very different from being able to use it now. The map remains, but the reality has changed. Finding a fallout shelter sign is one thing. Accessing a usable shelter is another. Most Cold War-era public shelters are no longer viable. Supplies are gone, spaces repurposed, and entrances sealed. Many are in privately owned buildings, with no obligation to open them in a crisis. The public shelter network is now a ghost system. This has fueled a market for private, high-tech bunkers, available only to those who can afford them. The communal safety of the past has given way to privatized survival. For most Americans, searching for a public shelter is futile. Many old shelters lack power, water, and ventilation. Without a personal survival kit, occupying one would be dangerous. The responsibility for survival has shifted from government to individuals and families. The old plan is gone. A new approach is needed. Preparedness now starts at home. With the public shelter network defunct, FEMA's advice is clear. Do not evacuate after a nuclear detonation. Get inside the nearest, most substantial building and shelter in place. The greatest danger is radioactive fallout, which arrives minutes after a blast. Underground spaces, basements or cellars, offer the best protection. If that's not possible, go to the center of a large, multi-story building, away from windows and exterior walls. Stay inside for at least 24 to 48 hours, or until authorities say it's safe. Radiation levels drop rapidly after the first 2 days. Having an emergency kit ready is crucial for this period. Your best chance of survival is making your own home a temporary sanctuary. How do you prepare your home as a shelter? Identify the safest spot, a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor with no windows. Build a go kit with water, 1 gallon per person per day, non-perishable food and essential medications. Include a battery-powered or hand-crank radio, flashlight, extra batteries, and a first aid kit. Don't forget sanitation supplies, moist towelettes, garbage bags, and a bucket with a lid for emergencies. Make sure everyone in your household knows the plan and where the kit is stored. Have an out-of-town contact for family check-ins. These steps dramatically increase your family's safety and resilience. Preparedness is about empowerment, not fear. A little planning now can make all the difference later. Your home can be your best shelter if you're ready. In uncertain times, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the threat of nuclear disaster. But preparedness is about action, not anxiety. The era of public fallout shelters is over. Sheltering in place at home is now the best strategy for most Americans. Access to credible information is key. Rely on official sources, not rumors. A battery-powered NOAA weather radio is essential for updates. Ready.gov and the Red Cross offer clear expert guidance. Preparedness isn't just for nuclear emergencies, it's useful for any disaster. The supplies you gather now will serve you in many crises. The shadow of nuclear weapons may have returned, but we are not powerless. Knowledge, planning, and supplies are our best defense. The ultimate shelter is a prepared home and a well-informed mind. By focusing on what we can control, we face the future with resilience. Readiness is not fear,